Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2014, and we're going to take a look at the market as we typically do with the indices, three indicators. Then we're going to look at some stocks. We got stopped out of two trade ideas today that were profitable, so we made profit on the second half, and we entered two new trade ideas. Okay, but first we're going to talk about the Dow, which was down 44 points today. It was down probably about twice as much as that at one point, and then just came back a little bit. So we'll have to see where this thing is going. I'm still holding the same labels. I'm still thinking that we've got a pattern that's a little similar to these moves in here are very similar. Now this is bigger, but we've talked about it before. This move up like this, and then you got this chop, and then a final move. This chop in here, then a final move, and A, B, C, and then a final move. Now we will see very shortly whether this is what is playing out or not. Now let's take a look. When we look at the indicators real quick, we are getting divergence in here between here and here, which is to this point, and yes, it moves slightly higher into there. Same thing in here. The other thing to notice that this ADX line, which is this light green line in here, when it's a greater than 20, which here's the horizontal line at 20, when it's greater than 20 and rising, it's usually indicates a trend of some kind is going on, like in here when this trend was going on. But since this point, since the early February, it has been going down. It's below 20, been very low, and has been doing nothing but going sideways. So there is currently no indication that this entire move in here is any kind of a trend. So we'll see whether see how this plays out. Actually, I mean, and here's the same thing with the S&P 500, the SPX. Not a whole lot's changed. We've had 1 day of trading. The NASDAQ was down 34.39, so a little bit higher percentage drop today. And the Russell 2000, actually I'm going to do the New York Composite. And again, the same scenario with these divergences that you can see, clear divergences are showing up. And the Russell 2000 was down the highest percent today. It wasn't quite 2%, but it was close. Might be, I don't remember the exact number, but I'm guessing it's like maybe 1 3/4%, something like that, and closed back down below the 10-day exponential moving average. Okay, short-term trading index. Let's see in here. We got a little bit higher reading today. 1.43 was the close. And the 10-day exponential moving average 1.08, so it bounced up just a little bit. Not really giving us any kind of a signal. The VIX was up today, so we've made this point. So here's a point, and again we're getting divergence in here. So we went lower, but the indicator did not go lower. So we'll have to see. Does this mean it started to do it here and then it failed, and we got this further move down here? It could be signaling that something's trying to turn in here. High-low index, this dropped back pretty well back in here. The highs, new highs for the year exceeded new lows by 94, and that's the second lowest reading in the last month and a half, 2 months almost. Okay, so it's dropped back down. Notice this high back up in here did not go to a new high when the Dow did, when the market did. As we moved to a high here versus here, the new highs didn't do anything back in here. So again, we've just been moving, chopping around back up, in here, and not going to get an indication until we get some kind of move where we break down below zero and get some trading below zero to tell us we're heading in another direction. Now it could be, just saw something here, it's possible that, you know, that we've broken a little bit of a trend line in here, and that this is a break. So we'll have to watch that. I'm going to leave that trend line in there. Okay, we're going to take a look at 4 stocks today that we haven't looked at in a while, I don't think. I'm just kind of working my way through the alphabet, and then we're going to take a quick look at a couple of the trade ideas for an update. So first one we're going to look at is MGM. And yes, I am back. There's a few of these stocks I added back into watching, and the reason being is that, let's take a look at this. MGM, the 50-day moving average of the volume is 7.8 million shares a day. That's the 50-day average. So it's a really nice, heavily traded. The problem I had with this stock is that the average true range is 60 cents. Okay, so it doesn't move a whole lot. And so if you're going to trade this for options, then you just need to go out. You know, I'll be looking at going out a little bit further, or going a little bit deeper in the money, and buying a, you know, maybe making sure that it's a, you know, in the high delta in the high 60s, 0.685 and above or something. We'll just have to see how the options play out when we go to get this, but we're going to have to adjust because this thing doesn't have a high ATR on it. But it's a neat stock. The stock's had a lot of movement over the years. I mean, when you look at over the last year in here, okay, the 52-week range is like 15 to almost 30, so the range is almost double, and I like that. I mean, that indicates movement in a stock. It's just that we're not getting a lot. And let me bring this window back so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so what I'm looking at is when I look at here, and you can look down here to the lower left, you'll see the third one up from the bottom is the ATR, average true range. It's 0.6. I move it back, it's 0.7, 0.8. Okay, so it was 1 back in here when we had some volatility. So it will fluctuate. Now back, look how low it is back in here. 44 cents a day is the average true range. So that gets a little hard to make a lot of money, and then all of a sudden, you know, you get this big trend that took off. So anyway, we're going to watch this. It's broken out above this range in here. The moving averages are aligned on a short-term and intermediate basis. We did get a close below the previous 2-day low in here, so I don't see anything I'm taking action on. Actually, I got stopped out on Melco, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is trading similar to the way Melco is. Let's take a look at Pandora. Pandora is also trading very similar to the way Facebook is. The interesting thing about Pandora is the first move down was a lot deeper than what we got in Facebook. But this still does look like kind of an A move down to me, a 5-wave move down. And so I'm thinking that this is forming a zigzag, like an A, B, C. So my expectation, though, even though we got a deeper first move down, I'm looking to see, let me move this up. I'm looking to see this thing, you know, come back down in here and do a little bit more of a zigzag. And again, if this is, say, a big wave, and I don't know which, actually, let's call it a wave 1 because we've had a lot of choppy correction between that. It's nothing to correct much deeper than that, than what you have in here. So that's my best take on it at the moment. They're going to be watching. We had pretty good little sell-off today. We go to the next window. And you really, I mean, I could look to see some kind of short setup, but since I'm already into Facebook, into puts, I don't want to add in Pandora at this point. But I think it's, you know, it might be a decent chance that it's going to roll over in here. The next one we're going to take a look at is Rackspace. R-A-X, Rackspace. Now, this is interesting because it looks to me like this thing has done a big zigzag correction, okay? And it came back down pretty well. Yeah, corrected 71% of the 4-year rally. So it's had a pretty good correction down in here. And let me see if I don't know, that doesn't help me a whole lot. Okay, now let's take a look at the RSI. You see how when this, at this C point, it went lower, but the RSI did not go lower. So that's a possible sign in here that divergence, that there's strength, and that maybe that kind of reinforces to me that there's a high probability that this is the end of the zigzag, okay, because we got divergence on the end of that. And so that tells me that, and then we got this trend line, get this window out of the way, we've got this big trend line here that we came up and came right to on what looks like a first move, because it looked, let me blow this up a little bit, it looks like we had a 1, 2, sharp 3, then a little shallow 4, and then this move in here 5, and now we've had a little pullback, wave 2. There's a good chance in my mind what I'll be looking for to see if it's get a setup in here to go long, to break higher on Rackspace. I don't know why. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just going by what I'm reading in the chart. Okay, so that's one I'm going to be watching. And then Solar City is the other one I want to take a look at today. And Solar City is another one that I think is, man, when I look at this, I don't think it's gotten deep enough on the correction. I don't think it's gotten deep enough on the correction. Okay, so I think we had 5 waves up, and I'm counting this as a big, like a big primary wave 1 that had 5 intermediate waves in it. And these are minor waves, these waves in here. So every impulse wave always breaks down into another 5 waves, okay? So now we're in this corrective A, B, C. This looks like, and you never know what kind of correction things you're going to run into, but this looks like it could be a zigzag if this keeps coming down. So there's a good possibility. Let me take a look at the, we're getting a little bit of divergence in here. Let me blow it back up so it's a little clearer. You can see how this pushed higher and the indicators did not in here. So now we're getting a close below the 10-day exponential moving average. And so there's a good possibility that this is the end of B and we're getting ready to come back down. So I hadn't really thought about this, but actually I think what I will do is look at a trade idea on this because of the divergence that we're getting and because of the potential here of A, B, C. And the reason I've got this C down here for 2 reasons. A lot of times the correction will go back to the bottom of the previous 4th wave. Okay, it'll go that deep. And the other thing is when I look at the length of A, I look at here's the length of A, you take it back to the start of B, to the end of B, and C will equal A, 100%, C will equal A at this point, right down in here, so like 33.5, that type of thing. So that's why I've got C down in here. So I am going to look at the options on this and look at a potential entry point for this for tomorrow morning and see if that will set up. And we'll kind of go for there. So I'm going to add that to my my list of trade ideas, making myself a note. Okay, now the other thing is I wanted to just kind of briefly mention, okay, we got in Facebook into puts today and we got in puts on First Solar. We'll see how those play out. Facebook was late in the day, finally hit the point, got within like a couple cents very early on and then backed off and then it hit it again. And then on First Solar, it got in this morning around 10:30, 10:25, something like that. And on Melco, you know, I had said, okay, if we get a close below the previous 2-day lows, and we have the number on the trade ideas page, and we got that close, and so therefore we got stopped out of the second half of our position, which was profitable. So both halves were profitable, so that was nice. I think we had a 24% profit on that trade. And then on Yoku Tudu, similar type thing. We got this sell-off and had talked about a close below the previous 2-day lows, and so we exited on this, and again had a profit that was much greater on the second half than we had on the first half, and we ended up with a 71% combined total profit on this trade. So again, the details are on the Trade Ideas webpage. So very nice. We entered on this day, and we exited on this day, and it turned out to be a very nice trade for us. You know, that's not a big move. That's not a whole lot. You know, yeah, would I love to stay in for something a lot longer? Yes, but it didn't let me this time. We'll see if we can do it next time. Okay, that's it for tonight. Again, we'll be back on Wednesday night with another market update, and we'll take a look at some Chinese stocks on Wednesday night and look at a little bit more around the world on the BRIC countries. Hey, if this video helped you in any way, please share it with your friends and hit one of the social media icon buttons down below. And remember, trading is more than the bars on the chart. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great Tuesday, Wednesday, everyone.